Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's Tuesday, and I've got my friend Kody Schweickhardt. Did I say it right?
You sure did. You
Ish.
nailed
Yeah. He's a good friend of mine from 6 years now. We've known each other
it. Mhm.
through our superfoods business. And I just am so excited to bring him on tonight. And he recently moved to Vegas, where he is going to plow further into his coaching, which he has done through Dale Holloway. And he's developed an amazing system. So I've recently got reconnected to Kody, and very, very fortunate for him to have shown me what he's doing. And so I find it very interesting. Is something on my nose? You never look at yourself until you're on a camera, right? And then
Good.
you're like,
You're good.
ah. Anyways, I just thought it was super cool that what you're doing, and I wanted to share this with all of my friends and their friends and their friends' friends. So if you're joining us, please feel free to comment. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and let us know if you have questions or where you're watching from. And so the name of his business is Discover Your Soul. And how many of you are looking for your soul right now? I know I am. With this COVID, it's really been an opportunity for me to look inward and to learn more about myself. So now, without further ado, this is Kody. Kody,
Yeah.
take it away. Tell us
Yeah.
more about what you do.
Thanks, Gina. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate you bringing me on and spreading the word on what this is all about now, as far as discovering our soul, discovering who it is that, we really are deep down. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. Um, as far as a little bit about me and a background, I relocated and originally met Eugenia back in, it was a while ago, and we had a really cool connection. And we were just having a blast at the Purium convention as a network marketing company. And Gina and I, we were yeah, so we were like the cool people that were taking pictures with everybody, and then the two cool people taking pictures with everybody found each other. And so that was basically how Gina and I originally met. Which, by the way, I still have to give you the picture. I
Picture.
gotta find it. Yeah, I gotta find it and send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But as far as what it is that I do, I've been blessed enough to. So actually, what happened was I was a part of Purium, and then I had an opportunity to sell some organic superfoods as a vendor booth, right, at a new venue space. And so I did that. And in process, this venue space that was opening up happened to be uh, a place so that this supposed master teacher could come in and start doing these seminars. And so I was just the guy that was helping bring people through and sell stuff, right?
Mhm.
Um, and that's how I found my current mentor, my current master teacher. And ever since that day, just all kinds of really great things have happened over the course of 3 years. And now I've become a certified transformation life coach, and I help people master their emotions and release subconscious limiting beliefs and subconscious fears, all those sorts of things, and just really get down to that real spiritual transformational healing, that purging and releasing all of those wonderful, uh, you know, uh, just those wonderful moments of self-discovery, you know, and an expansion of our consciousness ultimately. So that's kind of, it's in a nutshell, kind of what I do and how I came about it.
That's so cool. Yeah. I mean, it just happened by chance. And look where you are now. Amazing. Awesome. So I was just listening to, well, actually had gotten an email from Dale, and he had a little short clip asking about your low energy patterns, your low energy patterns. I had not even thought of that before. What a concept. Yeah. So I
What did
came
you,
up with
yeah,
one.
what was your takeaway? What was that?
My low energy that I need to really work on is I shut down and I avoid.
Ooh.
That's pretty deep, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's so because when we shut down and avoid, then what that does is that disconnects us not just from someone else, but ultimately something that's going on inside us. We're shutting down from what's happening on the inside, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you got you liked the video then. You got a good takeaway.
Yeah, yeah. And then what else did I learn? Oh, about addictive behaviors.
Ooh.
What a concept. And I have recently thought about this because I was wondering, what am I addicted to? And I have to tell you, it is something, a habit that I have recently really consciously cut out of my life. And it might sound silly, but I have addicted to having clean ears.
Oh,
You know,
really?
Q-tips? Q-tips. Oh my God. I'm just like a cat, like, oh yes, it's so good. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can make
So
it
I have
fun.
to hide. I took the Q-tips out of my bathroom because it's just a habit. When I get out of the shower, I want to clean my ears. So I removed them and I put them far away in the house and I don't go into the other bathroom. So
Hmm.
that's how I've been able to adjust to that new avoidance of this addiction that I have. So
Hmm. Interesting. So did you know
yeah.
that did you know these two things about yourself prior to watching that short video?
No, no, not at all. So it's just really, so amazing what you do on autopilot on your daily
Yeah.
that you don't even realize could be detrimental to you. For me, like I know that I shouldn't be sticking things in my ear because my ear, nose, and throat doctor told me that just a few months ago, and I continue to do it. So yeah, it was. I finally said, because of that, I took a look at myself and I said, no, you can't do this. And even though,
Hmm.
you can't do it. So I cut myself off cold turkey and I don't clean my ears every day now. Once
Hmm.
in a while, I do, but not every day. And nobody's commenting, so I'm wondering if they're here. You guys here with us? I see 4 viewers, but I'm
That's
not sure because I don't see their comments here. I wonder. Here's a chat. Uh-huh. I'm new to this too, so we will see what's going on. I'm not sure. Okay, well, maybe later we'll find some comments there and other people will admit to cleaning their ears more often than they should. But in the meantime, can you tell me a little bit about the Great Awakening? Because I
Ooh.
hear about it, and I really don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I can share with you what I know, and right now
Mhm.
there's a lot of things going on, obviously, and in order for us to really get to that place as a species, as a human, collective, what that means is that not only do we have to see all the things that need to change in
Mhm.
order to even get to that greater awakening, because the awakening itself isn't necessarily it's not necessarily the purging and releasing. That's kind of like, if you see the darkness, the shadow, your lower energy patterns of things you need to change, those, the things that have been in the back of your mind that you need to be doing that aren't getting done, those sorts of things. And then once you discover why those aren't actually getting done, as in, some of the deeper energetics that are kind of fueling that result in your life, once you get that, those usually aren't very pleasant. Once you actually see why and how you're doing what you're doing at a deeper level, it's not a very pleasant experience. So, the Great Awakening, some people say that we're actually in it right now. But there's a difference between where we're actually headed and what's coming to us in the most positive, beautiful, ways. And a difference between that and then also the process of actually getting there. So right now we're going through a really rough patch and it's going to get rougher. It's going to get louder. And a lot of this stuff, the reason I know this is because of what I've learned from Dale. And luckily, a master teacher, a mentor that I have access to, has the
Mhm.
ability to see things that most people can't see, tap into things that most people can't tap into. And so that's the benefit of having someone that's in your corner that knows a little bit more, that's a little bit further along than you, that can help kind of guide you as to like what's coming and help you make sense of things before they actually get here. That way, there's not as much of a surprise, so to speak. And you can start doing the necessary work that you need to do in your own personal life so that by the time something happens on a more collective level, you're not necessarily as affected by it because you've already cleared out a lot of the things that you need to take care of. So as a result, you become less reactive, to what might be happening as a result as to what's coming. So, the Great Awakening is we're a little ways off from that. But according to, my sources of information and Dale and what have you, next year we're going to have the first wave of people that are really getting access to this new reality, this new higher reality. But it's going to be those who really are more like the select few who've really been doing the work, who've been in and engaged for a while. But it'll come in waves, and it comes in as more and more people get on board. So, that would be my interpretation of it, and from what it is that I've learned. But, a lot of the things that I've learned are also coming from his personal experience. And so that's why I can say it, with such as a matter of fact, because when someone speaks from experience, you feel it, you know it, and
Mhm.
therefore you can almost transfer some of that. And so that's a little bit about what I'm doing right now.
Well, that's so cool. I mean, I didn't think of the timeline. I just knew it's something big
Mm.
that not too many people know about. So
Yeah.
this 2020 has been a year of preparation for us to really do a lot of soul searching,
Yeah.
right?
So it's kind of like this, if you think of like uh, it's kind of a gross example, but like a boil
Mhm.
or something, right? So it's like
Mhm.
you have the infection that's on top, but then you have all the good new cells, so to speak, rising, and so it's pushing all of the bacteria and everything else that needs to come out. It's coming up to the top,
Mhm.
and so that now we can have this new kind of thing. And so that's what's happening, is that we have this whole nother new, um, literally a new reality coming through. Um, so yeah, it's another good way of kind of looking at it.
Yeah, okay. That's good. I like that. That takes some positive on that whole icky thinking, you know.
You have to see it because you have to see it in order to change it, you know?
Hmm. Totally. Yeah. Is there anything that you find, like what hooked you into becoming a transformational life coach?
Yeah, well, I suppose, you know, I've always been a coach. I just didn't know that. Whenever I was in network marketing with Purium, I realized that I love taking people through a 10-day transformational cleanse because I loved the spiritual awareness that I got out of it, how much more clear I felt, how much more focused. And so I didn't recognize that there was actually a more of a consciousness element that was really driving my excitement from that. Because when you get cleansed and you get clean, I mean, you get a larger awareness that comes with that. And so I just loved bringing people through that 10 days. Like, what do you like to do? Like, how you feeling on day 2? How you feeling on day 3? Like, I wanted to walk people through that process, and I loved for people to have a really amazing experience. And so I didn't recognize that that was one of the reasons why I loved doing it. And then later, once I met Dale, I had an experience with the modality that he uses, that he created over the course of 20, 30 years now. And so once I had an experience of that particular process, system, methodology, so to speak, I had a personal experience with it. And just combining that with the teachings, higher teachings, I started seeing new results in my life, like my life just started to get better. Not overnight, but definitely better. And I recognized that I was making the choices that I needed to start genuinely making. And so once I had an experience of that, I did that, maybe went to 3 seminars, had the modality, was using the modality, learning how to work with it, because there's a learning curve for everything, right? But then after about 3 seminars, he unveiled this idea that he's doing a year-long coaching curriculum. And so, I just, after having that personal experience and then witnessing what kind of an advanced level that this particular individual was at, I thought to myself, like, this is the most conscious, advanced person in my sphere, in my world. And if this person is offering a course where he's basically going to take me underneath his wing along with a handful of other people, I'm going to jump on that. I don't care what it is, because
Hmm.
I just knew that I wanted to soak up as much as I could and learn as much as I could from this person. And of course, I'm going to get all these other benefits out of it. But I think the thing is that once you see someone that accomplishes something that you've always wanted to accomplish, and it's done, and they're the embodiment of that, that's very inspiring, because if you know that you follow in their footsteps, you know that you'll get there. Just like anybody, if anybody's had a really great mentor, or you've been inspired by somebody who has done what you've done, it's like, cool, I'm going to do what they're doing, and I know I'm going to get there. And so, I think that was really just what it was the mentality of, whatever this guy's doing, I want on board. And if I can be an awesome coach and make some great cash flow and support myself, really doing something that I love, that I'm passionate about, where I feel fulfilled and I feel joyful, I'm going to do that, and it's turned out quite well for me. That I made that decision back in June of 2018.
Awesome. So do you use this modality that you learned from him on your clients? And if so, what kind of results do you get?
Yeah, great question. Well, in every session, what I do is I facilitate people through this process. And in a nutshell, it's a series of questions that are very specifically organized in a specific order that elicits a repressed emotional material, meaning helps you kind of get real with what's really going on for you. And so I take people through that process always, and out of that, they make a new discovery. And out of that discovery, now there's obviously something new for them to be not just embracing, but also letting go of. Right now, they're aware of something they need to be letting go of, and also simultaneously something they need to be embracing now. Right. So out of that, after we do that, we we let go of some of the energetics around it, as in like the emotional material that's fueling these lower energy patterns, if you will. And then out of that, once we identify what is there be stepping into or letting go of, then I help create a strategy where little by little, slowly but surely, we start unwinding out of that experience and simultaneously stepping into something new, something that they're a higher calling that they're really to be focusing on right now or changing. So some of the benefits, though, to address the second aspect of the question, almost everybody comes out feeling much more relaxed, because, in order to hold on to a feeling, for example, I was assisting someone earlier today, and they had a hiccup at work earlier on in the morning, and something that just didn't really fit right with them, and so that whole day they were just having a really bummed day about it, a really sad day, and until I got on the phone with them on their way home, they were, by the end of the time, it wasn't that I made somebody feel better. It was that I actually helped her understand what it is that she just did. And ultimately, she came into more acceptance of what really was happening versus being in resistance to what was happening. And out of that, so much more ease, so much more grace, a much more willingness to move forward versus spinning in this emotion of whatever the stuck feeling is, right? For 6-9 hours. And whereas literally within 20 minutes, by the end of the first 20 minutes of our hour session, she was already feeling 10 million times better. And all of this, is something that I'm not doing for her. I'm guiding her through it so that she can do it herself. And so, ultimately what I like to see is I want to bring people to a place where they're self-reliant. They know how to manage their own emotional energies. They know how to get to their own emotional energies, and ultimately learn from these experiences so we don't have to do these repeats.
I love it. It's so empowering. And especially now with so much fear and anxiety in this world, something like that could be so useful, just so that you can do it yourself. Like, you don't have to sit in your all day. You can get up and move. Awesome.
Yeah. And it's I think it's unique. It's a unique modality because I'm not necessarily taking anybody into a different state of consciousness. I'm not really, I'm really putting the ball in their court, So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, any big events coming up or anything that you'd
Yeah.
like to tell people about?
Yeah, I mean, there's um So there's a seminar that Dale is doing here in about 2 weeks. That's called the Greater Self Awakening. It's a 9 to 7 and full on intense 3 day seminar live online. I always like to direct people to Dale because that's when you start getting the higher teachings. That's when you start really understanding how all this stuff works, how your ego works, how the soul works, how the soul is created, how the ego is created, and all of their roles, right? So I mean, there's a lot of higher education that comes from with this stuff, and so what I like to do is I like to direct people to get the education, and then when you're ready to do some work, let's talk. Let's roll up our sleeves, and I'll help you go inward and do what needs to be done, and start making some of those wiser choices. But as far as that goes, so there's that, and again, for any of this that I'm about to say, anybody can reach out to me, comment, message, whatever. I'm here to help. I'm here to, point you in the right direction. I can get you all the information. But it's called the Greater Self Awakening. And what it is it's all about embodiment. There's going to be a large portion about embodiment towards the end of the class. But the class is mostly centered around the 7 energy centers, and not just what they are and what they symbolize and how they work. But the difference is that you're going to end up making really specific connections on where it is in your life. So, for example, if your 2nd energy center is off, which is your sacral, the sacral energy center. A lot of people don't know this, but your sexual life as well as your finances is actually all in that creative center. So it's not just like most people think, right, with your sexual organs, but it's also strictly connected, directly connected to your finances or your relationship with money. So in other words, when he explains these sorts of things, and again, coming from a much deeper place than I can because he's got this rich experience around it, once that happens, you start making connections about, oh, wow, like, so that centers off of my life. Now I can see how it's playing out. And they each correspond to different areas of your life or different ways of using your voice, for example, right? But the way that it is taught, it's just you start making these new connections on not just what it means, but where in your life you're actually need to maybe tweak and which one maybe stands out to you most than all the other ones. So really powerful class, and it's just like a impactful, potent weekend thing. So that's coming up, and that's really exciting. That's on December 4th through 6th. Other than that, there is I always do one-on-one coaching, of course. Right now I have a couple spots open. I got some time that's getting taken up here because I also just launched a group coaching program, and
Wow.
it's a very comprehensive program. What I did actually was I interviewed 53 people over the course of 3 months on the topic of becoming your true authentic self and carrying out your soul's mission, whatever that might be. And each interview went anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the person. And just really got into like, what do we need? What are we missing? What have been our challenges? And so on and so forth. Because I wanted to create an awesome program. And so out of that, I created a full comprehensive thing where it involves the higher teachings from Dale. It involves a weekly group support call with Dale and myself. So 2 separate weekly calls. And then it also includes the modality, a lot of other awesome things, a private Facebook group, and a state-of-the-art advanced, brand new buddy system where everybody knows this modality and we all got each other's backs. And so if you get in your stuff, then not only are you going to have access to me in some really good ways, but you're also going to have a handful of friends that are also equipped with something to where if you call them, they're not just going to give you advice or give you an open ear like normal. They're actually going to have something to where by the end of that conversation, they can actually help you move through something and come out on the other side of that experience. So I think that's probably the biggest shining star thing that I'm so excited about this new group coaching program, because everybody that I interviewed, hands down, almost every person was just like, I want a community. I feel like everybody was doing their transformational work. Everybody that I interviewed was involved in growing, self-development, transformation, change. But the interesting thing is that everybody was doing it by themselves. They might have other friends that are doing it, but we're all doing it on our own, and so that's where I just really saw that need. And so now I'm really happy that, I've created that coaching program, and I'm launching it for the first time in a couple weeks. So I'm really excited about that. So a lot of my time is being taken up by that. So the amount of one-on-one slots that I have are now kind of small, but either way, if you're feeling called about any of this stuff, you want more information on Dill, you want more information and just maybe even have a conversation. There's all kinds of things I can point somebody towards, from free material to every level of investment that you could probably think of, depending on how committed you are and how ready you are.
So awesome. I think this
Yeah.
is probably the best gift we could give to ourselves is to learn more about ourselves so that we can love ourselves as we are. Like you're talking about authenticity and all of that, and to know the tools that we can use to empower ourselves to raise our vibration and get not stay in, you know, this turmoil of chaos and anger and misery that sometimes we keep ourselves in because we don't know any better, or we don't know how to do that, how to get ourselves up, so
Totally.
what you're doing is awesome. It's just you're such a blessing to so many people. And I know sometimes different coaches only coach men, only coach women, but you coach
Yeah.
either. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Even, I even have a couple, I'm working with one person who's under 18 too, and that's a lot of fun. So, I mean, it's the cool thing is that what I can get people access to and teach, if I need to, is anybody can do this. Anybody can start to learn how to do this, and you don't have to take all these extensive, really, you know,
Or go to a therapist every week.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, therapy's good,
Yeah.
therapy has its role. Um,
Right.
the difference of, I would say the main difference between therapy and something that I do is,
Mhm.
we're going to remove obstacles that are possibly standing in someone's way, um, from moving some element of their lives forward. So,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
No, I'm just thinking of a friend that has been in therapy for a long time, and I wish that she would have the tools, to do this on her own, so that she didn't have to feel this feeling of anxiety and the
right.
negative thinking and all that, and when it's someone that's close to you, you can't tell them that what you see, because they don't see it, you know so you just have to give them the space that they need to learn on their own.
Yeah, that's a really good skill to learn too, is, what are people ready for?
Yeah.
How can you meet them where they're at, and how can we really support someone with what they're really asking for versus what we see? And, as we become, just like you with your friend, as we
Mhm.
become more, open and more conscious about ourselves, that allows us to
Mhm.
see into things for other people. We can see into other people much easier because we've gained that within ourselves. And so, in that, yeah, sometimes, we have to really hold our tongue, or be
Yep.
careful with what information that we choose to release, simply because, it's just not even helpful for that person, you know,
Yeah.
you know
Yep.
so really just learning how to, properly probe. These are really awesome skills that anybody can learn if they want to, do this, not even just as a coach, but, I'd say that's one of the most beautiful blessings that I've learned out of becoming a coach, is learning how to ask non-threatening questions, learning how to have conversations in a way to where, I'm sensitive to somebody's ego. I understand that when I'm working with somebody, I'm not just working with them as their soul connection, but also I'm working with their ego. I'm working with their inner child. I'm even working with perhaps shadow aspects of their masculine or feminine side. So
Mhm.
it's, yeah, to be able to do that is a very valuable skill. And ultimately what that does is that's respecting them. That's
Mhm.
respecting them for where they're at in their process. And, and with that, that's what creates the opening now for something else to happen, because clearly
Mhm.
you can see somebody that you care about, and you can see, into them, so to speak, on how to help them. Then by respecting that process and learning how to meet with them where they're at, what that does is
Mhm.
you allow an opening to happen for whatever it is that they truly need from you. If that's the case, that will now be able to be expressed. It'll be able for them to have an experience, you know. So good on you for doing that and catching that on yourself. And yeah, there's all kinds of really great benefits that can come out of that.
Yeah, that's why I think that it's always a good thing to invest in a coach that like for me, I'm too close to her. So
Yeah.
having
Oh yeah.
someone that is not as
Yeah.
connected or not as, I mean, I know that love is important, but sometimes that disassociation is helps someone break through even easier, to open up and share, you know.
Yeah, it's like
So
that comfortable, that perfect comfortability spot where if somebody's objective, they can still remain objective, and yet they still care. They still want you to
yeah, yeah,
succeed. They still want your product. But at the same time,
yeah.
if it's like significant other or brother or family member or something, now you might have some vested interest getting in there. You know what I mean? Now you might be having your own selfish needs kind of get in there a little bit. So yeah, it's usually a better idea for people that you really care about to refer them out to somebody. Yeah,
Totally. Yeah.
yeah,
Love it. Cool. Well, I really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much for, jumping on
yeah,
here and doing
yeah.
this with me.
There's one
And
other thing actually that I want to add that now that before we get off, I was really thinking about the title of, what you called this of being your, living, what did you call it? The highest,
higher
formal,
self.
I, yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like
Mm-hmm.
living at the highest level. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you called it, right?
Oh yeah.
And
Right.
and so, right. And so what I want to do is, I just wanted to make a clarification on what that actually might look like and what that might mean for somebody. Because living at our highest level, and just to make a full-on disclaimer, I'm not at 100% of my potential, and it's really important that if we know that about ourselves, that we own that about ourselves, because that's what allows us to grow. That's actually what allows us to get to that higher level. So having said that, however, I do know what it looks like to live at a higher level, and a higher level more than what maybe some have access to right now. And so what that looks like might not be what you think. Meaning, you know, living at a high level doesn't necessarily mean how much you get done, although that is something that is a side effect, right? It's a result that we get in our external world. As a result from living in a higher level, obviously you're going to be more productive, but it's more so about the state of consciousness that you're at, and the or that a person is at, and how graceful and calm and peaceful and gentle. Because a large part of my life I was so, and it's a great quality, don't get me wrong, but I was very eager and at times pushy, and just wanting to just get a lot done and try really hard, and attain my highest potential.
Mhm.
And yet it was when that actual part of that higher potential got realized, what I recognized that is that, I've become so much more calm. I've become so much more relaxed. I know how to relax myself and soothe myself. And so living at the highest level isn't sometimes the most like glamorous type of thing that we want to fantasize about. It can be much more simpler than that, so I'll share this one last insight that I got from those 53 interviews that I thought was absolutely incredible. And it was a common trend that I witnessed that nobody else made the connection to. And what that was is, I asked everybody, if you were, uh, on a day-to-day basis, what happens, like when you're feeling peaceful and relaxed and in your place of center, what does your day-to-day life look like? And I'll just ask you, Gina, like if you were to ask people that question, when you're feeling peaceful and relaxed in your place of center, what does your day-to-day life look like? What do you think people would typically answer that with?
if this was answer from someone else, right? What would it
Yeah,
look
like,
like
like
if
if
you
you were
felt?
asking that question, yeah.
Mm,
What kind of response do you think you might get, or would you expect to get?
probably something having to do with you don't have any fires. Like you don't have to put out any fires that day. Like there's nobody calling you and they need you right now, and you're not being tugged on the arm by a child or like
Yeah, right,
right? It's
right.
day-to-day stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, maybe, right. So, less chaos and right, a
Hmm.
little more peace, right? And so I was thinking something along the same lines. Like I would think, well, people would probably be hanging out or, and what I discovered is that I could not tell you how many people told me and listed their, um, like being productive, like their daily routine.
So
Like,
if
so
they were at peace,
yeah. So if you're feeling
oh.
peaceful and relaxed in your place of center, what does your day-to-day life look like? And so many people listed out either their ideal life or their daily routine. Uh,
Wow.
right. So what that means is that there's a hidden connection
Mm,
that being peaceful, relaxed, and in your place of center is a prerequisite to living your ideal life. It's like the precursor to being productive, which is
hmm.
kind of a catch-22, right? I mean,
Yeah.
people wouldn't think that that's where your best productivity really comes from. And so with that, I thought, well, wow, there are so many people who are looking for more results, more external results. And yet, how many of those people, how many of us are actually honestly making our primary focus to come back to a peaceful and relaxed place of center on a consistent basis? Is that really what we're focused on? Or are we focused on attaining something externally in order to make us feel better?
I
So
see.
yeah,
External versus internal satisfaction.
yeah, yes,
Hmm.
yeah. Um, so
Sorry,
yeah, so
I want to put this up really quick because I can.
sure.
Geraldine is here and she says, "Love that, Kody. It's truly the level of one's consciousness." And here's one where she wrote down here. It says, "I know people who choose not to have white space in their lives and consider that peaceful."
Very cool. Very cool, Gerald.
Yeah.
I remember Geraldine actually,
You
that's
remember
really
her? Yeah, of course. How can you remember? How can you not
yeah.
remember? Wait, how can you not remember? Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
joy generator.
yeah.
Yeah.
Puriya Mohana, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So awesome. I'm so happy we have someone I can put comments up from. Thank you,
Yeah.
Chair.
Thanks
Thank
for
you. Here, wait, we got one more. Here, let's do this one here. Aloha.
yeah.
Thanks,
Aloha.
Chair.
Yeah,
So good
totally.
to have you here. So we're going to end this now, but I appreciate everyone's comments and questions. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and put your questions down here. Kody will be back to answer them.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you so much for your time again, and your not only time here, but time before here when we got together to talk about what you do and what kind of results that you can get for me and for other people. So I really appreciate you, and also directing me to learn more about you know this higher level of thinking and acting and being ultimately. So thank you,
Totally.
Kody.
Yeah, you're so welcome, Gina. And are you enrolled? You're enrolled to the Greater Self Awakening course, right?
I will be there in
Awesome.
December. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Awesome.
super stoked then. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, everybody, we'll see you again for another interview some other night.
Yeah.
Have a great one and happy Thanksgiving if you're watching this later in the week.